In this lesson, we'll create the back window covers. So these pieces with the vents are what we're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of this geometry that we already have as a basis for this cover. And so I'm going to grab this little ridge, or this little rim of geometry around here. So I'm going to select this, go to our polygon subobject, and let's go ahead and select all these polygons basically, right around here. Okay, and this will just help because these already are kind of in position. I don't want to move them. They're already in the right location. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and let's go to Edit Geometry, and let's go ahead and detach that, and we want to detach it as a clone this time. Okay, so I'm going to detach it as a clone, and what that's going to do is enable us to detach this. You can see where we've got a new piece here, if I can get it selected, but it didn't actually take it off. It didn't actually remove it from the geometry. Okay, so if I move this out, you can see that geometry is still under there. So that's what we want to do. The next thing we want to do is add a little bit of resolution. So right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to add a couple of lines up here. So the idea is to match this up so that we can draw geometry across here. Okay, so to do that, I'm simply going to, I can just go into Cut if I want to, go to Edit Geometry and Cut, and I'll simply add a line kind of in here, and I want it to be kind of right in the middle, I think. So let me go ahead and zoom in on this, and I'll just add one kind of right in here. So something like that, and then up here as well, just kind of right in here. Okay, and so now if we take a look at this, we can see that we've got 1, 2 on this side and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this edge right here. Go ahead and delete that, and now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can simply add 2 in here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just go back to Cut, and I'll just add these kind of halfway. That's in there. And down here as well. Okay, so now what we can do is bridge it across here. So we can take these edges. So let's say we'll go to Select, take all these 4 edges, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And we can go ahead and bridge. And to do that, we need to go to Edit Edges, bridge across there. Now we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divisions, or 6 segments. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like it says. And we can say OK. All right, and now we can come in, grab these vertices up here, say these two, and we want to weld them together. So we want to give it kind of a nice big threshold because they're a little bit farther away. We'll apply that. Select these two, apply that. Select these two, apply. This one and this one, apply that, and then these two and apply that. I don't think that one got quite applied there. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing down here. Grab those and apply, grab those and apply, and just zip this up basically all the way around. Apply that, and last one kind of over here. Let's say OK. So this gives us kind of some closed-in geometry that we're able to use, and we can still move these points around. So let's go ahead and look at that. So what we want to happen is for this to be kind of at the edge of these vents. So let's go ahead and get our point here, and we'll experiment with our reference coordinate system. So if we do local and go to move, you can see that I can now grab the kind of the Y and move that along. Okay. Same thing here, so that I'm not distorting this. Okay, I can do that right there, and this one's already kind of in the right spot. And then this one, if you want to, you could just cut across this, slice across there. So for instance, I could take this and just do a quick slice right across there, and then we could grab these edges in here. Go to Edge Selection, grab the loop, and just get rid of that. And we can replace that. Okay, and we could even get rid of this one if we really wanted to. It's all about kind of figuring out what geometry you actually need. Because this is straight and it's not really changing direction, we don't really need that. Okay, we can grab these vertices and just kind of move those over to straighten them out. Okay, so the idea is to get geometry along the backs of where these vents are going to be. Okay, alright, so once we have that, we can now start to bring out those vents themselves. Okay, and let me just move some of this geometry. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and select, let's go ahead and select this guy right here. Alright, now you can either hinge this from the edge or you can just extrude it and rotate it. I'm going to go ahead and just extrude it out. So go ahead and extrude. Okay, my local. We'll bring this down quite a bit. Okay, and so let's say not that amount, maybe a little bit less actually. And so then once we have this, we can rotate it. Okay, and I'm going to rotate it locally. And so I'll rotate this back. So what we're doing is just rotating that so the vent is facing back. Okay, and you might need to rotate it in a couple different axes just depending on what you get. So you can see how that is now got an area for a vent. And if that's too wide, you can rotate it a little bit less and actually just push that back in. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. Go ahead and extrude that out. Say OK, and then we'll rotate that until we get something like that. And then we'll do the same thing up here, and this time we'll use all of these. Go ahead and extrude that, say OK, and then we'll rotate that out. And now to get the actual vent, we will extrude in the fronts of those, right? So go ahead and take these polygons here, inset them, just a small amount, okay, and then extrude them in and give it a negative extrude. Okay, once, and let's go ahead and apply that and do another one. And we'll do the same thing in here. Inset, okay, extrude, a small amount and a larger amount. If you're going to smooth it out. If you're going to leave it as a polygon, it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, we'll go ahead and do the same thing here. Inset and extrude. And apply that and do another extrude back. Now if you are going to smooth this, you'll want to add some lines across here, right, to make that nice and sharp. So if we smooth this out now, you'll see that it's a little bit, the vents are a little bit soft. They're actually not too bad. But if you want them to be nice and sharp, you would want to add another line in there. Okay, so you'd want to add some geometry. For instance, in here, you take a loop, or rather a ring selection. Okay, go to Edit Edges and Connect, and we'll drag that edge kind of up here. And let's do the same thing down here. Select that ring, go to Connect, and drag that down. And that'll give you a little bit more sharpness. Okay, if you want to add some thickness to the actual piece itself, we'll grab this guy and just move it out slightly so it's not flush there, and maybe move it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab Border Selection, and let's select this border all the way around. Just hold down Shift and move this until it penetrates with the vehicle. And we can move it down a little bit so it's nice and straight. Alright. And then if you want it to be very tight, if you're going to be smoothing this, you could select a ring right there and run Connect all the way around. Do the same thing down here. Ring and Connect. Alright, and then if you did want to smooth it, you could go ahead and just smooth that out. Give it a couple of iterations maybe. And then that's kind of what you get. Got a little vents in there. Okay, so pretty straightforward there. Just kind of a combination of some of the techniques we've already used. But the main thing was I kind of used this ring of geometry as the basis, so that way I don't have to go in and fit everything together. It's already sort of in the right spot. I just have to fill this in with geometry, put the lines in the right place, and do some extruding. Okay, so it helps make things go a little bit quicker. All right, so now that we've got that done, let's go ahead in the next lesson and add the scoop to the top of the hood. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that next.